My name is Corinne Stoffel, and I teach French language and French literature. And I'm also, the type of content that I teach is affiliated to CRES and its mission.
My name is Victoria Fortuna. My preferred pronouns are she and her. And I teach in the dance department here at Reed. My own teaching crosses theory and practice. As a dancer, I'm trained in modern and contemporary dance. And as a researcher, I work on concert dance practices in Latin America and specifically Argentina.
Hi, everyone. My name is Felicia Sullivan. I'm in the faculty and anthropology department. Among the classes that I teach classes in CRES, including the CRES Junior Seminar this year. My research focuses on Brazil, race and ethnic social movements in Brazil, land conflict, environmental politics, and the like. So CRES is one of the newer programs at Reed. It's a program that has been in the works for decades, really. And it's something that the departments with which you can major aren't completely representative or reflective of the range of scholars, the range of classes, the range of speakers and programs and the like that are CRES related or what could contribute to a CRES course of study. For example, we have a speaker series called the CRES Colloquium that is attended by people from across the college and in which you have presentations by faculty from across the college, from the English department, for example. As a CRES major, you would major within your department of study, whether it be anthropology or dance, and you would do a junior qualifying exam within those departments and write a thesis within those departments.
The CRES faculty are in many different departments for CRES. How does that really benefit a program in particular at a school that really focuses on the liberal arts, this idea that students learn from many areas to develop proficiencies?
I think, one of the real benefits of a Reed education that I'm sure you've probably heard of already is that you get to develop very close relationships with faculty, right? So in the sense of both access to faculty through office hours and close advising relationships, but also over the course of the major, it's likely, and this will vary depending on the department because different departments are different sizes, of course, but we'll often take, in many cases, multiple classes with one professor. So another benefit that I see to an interdisciplinary major like CRES, where you have a home department, but you're also taking classes more broadly beyond it, is it just extends that network of relationships that students have across the college with faculty.
Just echoing what the mission of CRES is, or what even the value of it is, which is starting to think about these issues as multiple and not essential or singular. I think the fact that specifically this is a multidisciplinary major really speaks to that, to this understanding that is expansive and that is definitely speaking to a multiplicity.
What kind of student benefits from the CRES program? Kind of speaking maybe from the art side of things. Students who come to Reed interested in the performing arts are coming really kind of hungry for the ways that a performing arts education is not going to be based solely in kind of technical training the way it would be at a conservatory, right? It may be a BFA granting conservatory. So I think for any performing arts major at Reed, thinking about the arts as a liberal art, right? As a mode of inquiry that's going to involve thinking about history, culture, politics, and theory at the same time that you're learning a craft is already compelling.
Here at Reed, there's a variety of languages that are taught, obviously. But what I appreciate, for example, for me teaching in the French department is that I believe that French is a certain way that people look at it or imagine it, and it's seldom the type of French that I teach or the type of French literature that I teach. When you think of French literature, you probably think of France, right? But the truth is, French is spoken in over 100 countries. For what reason? Colonialism, of course. I think Reed really values languages and the way that they can be taught not from this continental perspective. And so me specifically, the way this works in the courses I teach is that I don't teach courses from continental France. So I teach literature from the French Caribbean and literature from sub-Saharan Africa. I think that the conversations that are happening in CRES courses or CRES-related courses end up being echoed a lot by students who are affiliated with the Multicultural Resource Center. You have definitely social events that are not just for students of color, but led by students of color, that are welcoming of everyone, regardless of race or gender or sexual orientation. But what these events do is that it's the time for students to take the type of conversations that we're having in class and see what they do and what kind of conversations they have or they can organize on their own. The students that I know that are affiliated with MRC they're absolutely incredible, and they're really, truly interested in making a difference in the way that academia is accessible to more people than it's been historically.
The Critical Race and Ethnicity Studies program, part of its history of coming to be was activism on the part of students of color advocating for the foundation of the program, right? So thinking about that history, that past, as, you know, a kind of fundamental part of the program's DNA, maybe even say that, you know, as thinking about, right, so on these ongoing conversations, right, across kind of student-led spaces and then kind of primarily classroom spaces, that history is always there. And I think on the part of the program, kind of imagining future avenues for conversation or kind of maintaining that fluidity is critical.
I learned early on in my education the importance of thinking critically about race and ethnicity and thinking about it across an array of topics, not just the humanities and social science, but natural sciences. So it has real world stakes, and it matters in terms of what it is that we see unfolding and that's happening in our own lives. And so that's part of my passion for my work.
And for me, in terms of what makes me passionate about what I study and what I teach, really sort of comes down to, for me, these categories of social difference, right, that we're talking about, you know, having some relationship to each other, right? So race, gender, sexuality, class, ability, as categories, right, that are read on and also constructed on bodies, right, as bodies, you know, navigate their way through the world. The ability then of a body in motion and dance, whether that's on a street or a stage or a club or wherever that dancing may be, every day, right? It brings me a lot of joy for, you know, to kind of be with students and thinking about the relationship between those two kinds of movement.
It seems a little bit, I mean, it is personal. I am French and Caribbean, and I am multiracial, and I feel that growing up, I didn't actually hear a lot from French national discourse. There's not a lot of space for people who are bicultural or who are biracial, or even who are at the cusp of two languages, between French, in my case, and Creole, which is another language of where I am from. So I am from a French Caribbean island. So for me, teaching French from a non-metropolitan, non-continental perspective is really personal. I'm trying to sort of like recreate this discourse that I didn't grow up around. But also, as Sullivan said, this is an opportunity for us to really think about what it means to be humans, but also humans in the 21st century, with all the connections that are enabled by technology, or just the possibility to travel or to be in touch with each other in ways that we were never able to do. It seems like we're only speaking about French, but we're really speaking about the world and new ways of understanding race and cultures. So that's what's really exciting for me.